Hello students, welcome to La Excellence. Welcome to our session of monthly current affairs where we'll be focusing on December current affairs 2016. So let's see what are those topics which are important from prelims 2017 point of view. So the first major issue is actually with respect to Gotthard Base Tunnel, which actually connects a rail link between North and South Europe across or under the Swiss Alps. It's very important for us to remember this. You have seen in India also there was a tunnel which was set up to ensure that there is safe movement of vehicles which gives connectivity with Jammu and Kashmir. The same way Europe is also focusing on this. Guys, as I have told in the weekly current affairs as well, this year you can see that lot of agreements internationally is actually happening with respect to transportation. It may be with respect to BBIN network, it may be with respect to BMIC, Bangladesh, Myanmar, India, China, Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, Nepal, and you may talk about India, Myanmar, Thailand, which they want to extend it till Vietnam. You may talk about North-South corridor. You may also talk about One Belt, One Road of China, and also which is planning to connect it with UK, right? So everyone at some point of the other, they are actually talking about this. You may also talk about CPEC. Because of all these reasons, it becomes important for us to actually focus on these transportations as well. Now, the world is actually planning to reduce the distance between these countries. They are ready to open up their borders for others. Because of all these issues, it's very important for us to look at this. Right? So guys, please consider these specifically from prelims point of view. Then, as we are all aware, it's very important for us to look at one of the major issue with respect to China, that is the Arunachal Pradesh. As you are aware, there is a person by name Gyavlang Karmapa, who is actually head of Karma Kagyu school, Kagyupa. So what exactly is this? He is the one who is actually head of a Tibetan Buddhism. There are 4 different schools of Tibetan Buddhism. We need not worry about it much. We need to look at Karma Kagyu school specifically, mainly because this leader, he actually visited the Tawang district of Arunachal Pradesh, which the Chinese consider to be disputed and they are not happy about it. As we all are aware about the Dalai Lama visiting there, but this person will not be focused much. But Chinese were very much concerned about this. When you look at him, most important thing that one remembers is about the Karma Kagyu school. Tibet has 4 Buddhist schools in which Karma Kagyu is also one. In that, the Kagyupa school is actually an oral tradition concerned with meditation based on experience. So this may be asked. Consider the following with respect to the Tibetan school, where they may say Kagyupa is an oral tradition concerned with meditation based on experience. So this option becomes important for you. So guys, second important topic from prelims in December is also with respect to this. The third, there is something called as Sanji Sanj national newspaper, which is actually dedicated to senior citizens, and it is released by Ministry for Social Justice and Empowerment. So this is also important. They may ask you about the ministry and also why this newspaper is published or for whom it is published. Or they may ask you, what is Sanji Sanj? Is it a newspaper or is it a radio channel or is it something associated with the senior citizen, something like orphanages or something? So what exactly is this? So please be careful with these type of terminologies. Then from culture point of view, some important factors that you need to remember is one, with respect to the Hornbill festival, which is celebrated in Nagaland. Hornbill is the most important species of Nagaland, which is hugely respected by them. So this festival where all the Naga tribes from across the countries will also come. For example, when you take within India, apart from Nagaland, there are certain districts in Arunachal Pradesh, there are certain districts in Assam, certain districts in Manipur, and also Myanmar. So all these people, they come together and celebrate this. This happened in December. So they may directly ask you, Hornbill Festival is celebrated in which of the following states? So it is Nagaland, right? And then the other important point with respect to culture is the Kuchipudi dance. As in Vijayawada, lot of people they made a record by dancing together. This also becomes important for us. So what exactly does the Kuchipudi thinks about? You all know that it is one of the major dance forms, but within that you need to know that there is something called as Nritya, that is non-narrative pure dancing. Nritya, there will be narrative dancing, and there will be Natya, right? So they may ask you, Nritya, Natya is associated with which of the following dances? For people who are aware of Kuchipudi, it will be easy for you, but for those who are not aware of this, it's very important for you to look at this. Then from culture point of view, this one, Kalamkari, means painting pen, right? Kalam, pen, Kari, painting. This was the work at Kalahasti and Masulipattnam. So they may give you in match the following. Kalamkari is from which place, or is it famous in which place? Then Bidri craft is actually famous in Bidar district of Karnataka. In this, zinc is usually used. The Teva craft is actually important in Rajasthan. So I hope you're understanding, right? So they may give you match the following. Kalamkari is famous where? Kalahasti and Masulipattnam. Bidri craft, Karnataka. And Teva craft, Rajasthan, right? So these three can also form a question. So please be careful about this as well. Then yoga is actually considered to be part of UNESCO list of intangible cultural heritage of India. So yoga is made part of this, and it is 13th from India. So the question they may not ask only from this, they may ask you, which of the following are intangible cultural heritage of India with respect to UNESCO? So some of these that we need to focus is, first, when you are actually considering, there is a traditional brass and copper craft, right? Traditional brass and copper craft from the Tatheras of Jandialaguru. This was from Punjab. Please try to remember it. Then you have Sankirtana. Many people in South may think it is from Andhra Pradesh or Tamil Nadu. It is actually from Manipur. It is ritual singing, drumming and dancing. Buddhist chanting in Ladakh. I also got this. Buddhist chanting in Ladakh. This is also important. And as you are aware, Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, right? Then fourth, you have Kalbelia folk. They may give you in match the following. It may become a difficult question if it is given. So if you people remember it, then it will be easy for you. And this is from Rajasthan. Now, the fifth one is Chow dance. You might have heard of this dance, Odisha and all, but usually it is spread across eastern India. Yeah. Then you have Mudiyattu. It is a theatre and dance or drama from Kerala, right? Then you have Ramman, religious festival from Uttarakhand. You have Nauruz. It is celebrated across India, which is March 21. You might have read this, different names. In magazine we have given this. Then you have Ram Leela, which is celebrated across North India. Vedic chanting was given. And then you have Kutiyattam. Vedic chantum is there throughout India. Kutiyattam is Kerala. Right guys? So they may not directly ask you with respect to yoga, but they may ask you anything with respect to any of these aspects. So please try to remember from match the following point of view. Then we need to look at Swachh Swasthra Sarvatra. This is a program of Government of India. Especially it is a joint initiative between Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation and the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. These two have come together and they are talking about Swachh Swasthra Sarvatra. They are also talking about Swasth Bacche Swasth Bharat. So what's the meaning of this? If there are healthy children, then you will have healthy India. So it's very important where you have two important things. One which is under Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation, which actually ensures that there will be 700 blocks which will be declared as open defecation free, and community health centers in these blocks will also be given rupees 10 lakh to focus on sanitation and hygiene. Then under Kayakalp, one primary health center in each district will be awarded for meeting quality standards including sanitation and hygiene. Who actually looks after this? This is actually taken care by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So you have two important things under this. High possibility they may ask you a question about the schemes. Swachh Swasth Sarvatra. What is it? It is a joint initiative of Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation, and the other one is Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation actually ensures that some money is given to ensure there is open defecation free blocks, and for them 10 lakhs will be given to ensure sanitation and hygiene is maintained. And under Kayakalp, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare will try to ensure that some rewards is given for the primary health centers of these 700 blocks to maintain the quality standards which are required for sanitation and hygiene. So these two are coming together to ensure that the Swachh Bharat is also becoming a reality. Then you have next important report by UNESCO, Global Monitoring Report. So if they ask you who releases Global Monitoring Report, it is UNESCO. Then you have Nai Roshni. Whenever something starts with Nai, it is for minorities. Ishan is for Northeast India. So what exactly is Nai Roshni? It actually looks at leadership development in minority implemented areas or minorities dominated areas, where the focus is actually on developing leadership among these communities, especially for women. And this will not be done only by the government, but they will also take the help of NGOs, civil societies and government institutions. So again, this can be asked. So guys, please ensure that you go through this also. Right? Nai Roshni is also very important in India Yearbook. We have already talked about this. Swasthya Raksha program is actually under Ayush Ministry to promote health and health education in rural areas. High possibility they may ask you a question about all these schemes. See guys, this year you may get questions from economy because of demonetization. You may get questions from schemes because lot of schemes which the Prime Minister had said before is implemented now. So the second important thing that they may ask you is actually with respect to the programs, and then the third most important thing can be actually with respect to transport and Indian geography, where the focus can be more about what is actually there within India at different parts. For this also you can take the help of India Yearbook. Then from science and tech point of view, the most important one is actually with respect to space or satellite launching ResourceSat 2A, which was successfully done with the help of PSLV C-36, and it is 38 successful launches. It is a remote sensing satellite which will provide information on water bodies, farmlands, crop extent and forest. So they may ask you with respect to this space technology, they may give 4 statements with respect to 4 different satellites that are launched. One can be with respect to Navik, second can be with respect to ResourceSat, the third can be with respect to 38 satellites which were launched. So all this becomes important for you, right? So guys, after this, what is more important for us is the mitochondrial gene therapy. In the magazine, I have clearly said about this particular topic, that is, you will be taking mitochondrial DNA from the other patient just to ensure that the diseases, mitochondrial diseases from mother is not transferred to the children, and from father it is never transferred, it is only from mother. So this may be important for you. Then we have something called as dead zone in Bay of Bengal. What exactly does that mean? There you will not have much oxygen, and this cannot support any life system or marine system in that particular area. Nutrient pollution may be one of the reasons. In your environment and ecology, you would have read about COD, chemical oxygen demand, and BOD, biological oxygen demand. So it's very important for us to focus on COD and BOD as well. So the dead zone is very, very crucial for us whenever we are reading about the Bay of Bengal. Right? You might have heard about the eutrophication. So this process is also important for you to remember this. And after this, it is not only in Bay of Bengal, but it is present in different parts, usually at western coasts of North and South America, Namibia and India, in the Arabian Sea. In all these places on the western side of the coast, you also see this. Wherever you usually see some sort of currents which become stagnant over a period of time, the Sargasso Sea and all, they also become stagnant because of lack of oxygen and other things, as there won't be much movement. So it's not exactly Sargasso Sea, but somewhere near to that you will see these type of things as well. So dead zones are actually those where there is lack of oxygen which is required for marine life to flourish. The other major thing with respect to science and technology is Osiris-Rex. This is NASA's spacecraft which is usually sent to search Trojan asteroids of the solar system. What exactly do you mean by that? Trojan asteroids are constant companions to planets remaining stable at 60 degrees in front of or behind the planet. Mostly there are 4 to 5 satellites including Earth, whose Trojan is 2010 TK7, where they will be present at a certain degree, and they never come and collide as they follow the same orbit. But if at all there is any possibility of any asteroids coming and hitting, we need to know. For these also the Osiris-Rex may be beneficial. We need to study, is there any impact of these Trojan asteroids on any satellites or any planets. When we see moon, when we actually look at Mars, you can see that there are some large craters being present. Many people say it is because of the asteroid impact. So are these impact because of the Trojan asteroids? So all these are important for the scientists to see. So they are actually releasing this NASA spacecraft which will specifically study about the Trojan asteroids. And then the most important one, which is done by youngsters from engineering college, is actually with respect to DISANet, that is Disaster Communication Network. As you're aware, during disaster, usually your telephone, mobiles or any other network which is important for connectivity will not work. So to provide these basic services during disaster, this DISANet communication is actually invented, right? So this is important. Next, there is increasing forest fires being reported in the country, and when we actually see, most of these forest fires are usually present in Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Himalayan pine forest regions. The reason for this is, wherever you have chir pine needles which are present, then usually we see that the forest fire will be more. The reason for this is, chir pine has high resin content which makes it highly inflammable. Incidents of fire in broad-leaved forests are found to be minimal. So they may ask you, consider the following statements with respect to forest fires. So they may say it is mostly present in those areas where chir pine needles are there, and it is less in broad-leaved forest areas. So at that point of time, you should say that both the statements is correct, right? So guys, it's very, very important for us to look at this. The next important thing is ammonia is detected in the upper troposphere. Usually it is present in the lower troposphere, but it is detected in the upper troposphere. When it is actually present in the upper troposphere, what happens is it acts as aerosol. So you have these ammonia present, and whenever sunlight falls, it reflects back. This leads to reduction in the sun's energy reaching the earth. This may reduce the climate change impact. It is usually concentrated above India and China. Usually they say it is from the paddy fields of these regions. But what is more important for us is this particular concept where ammonia acts as aerosols in the upper troposphere and reduces climate change impact. So please be prepared with this particular topic. Then we need to look at the other major issue, that is eco-sensitive zones. As you are aware, the Sanjay Gandhi National Park was recently made into several eco-sensitive zones where certain activities in this region is controlled. So we should know that there are some buffer zones across every national park. So what they do is they try to limit the activities in this region just to ensure that there won't be much impact on the forest species or wildlife which is actually present. So let us see what exactly are these activities which are prohibited, regulated or permitted. When we say prohibited, commercial mining in this region is completely prohibited. Setting of sawmills and industries causing pollution is prohibited. When we look at regulated, regulated means with permission you can actually go. Felling of trees, establishment of hotels and resorts, erection of electric cables. These are regulated. It is not completely prohibited. But when I say prohibited, it's not allowed at all. Then permitted, if you have any ongoing agriculture and horticulture practices, then it is permitted. So guys, they may ask you what is eco-sensitive zone and consider the following statements with respect to that. The other major issue which we all have to look at is there is dense fog in North India mainly due to cyclonic activity. When you actually look at this statement, you may get confused. This statement can be asked in mains. Guys, cyclones, tropical cyclones originate on oceans. But we are talking about dense fogs in North India being formed due to cyclonic activity. What is the reason for this? They actually say that due to the cyclonic activity, though the cyclones don't go, they die off as soon as they enter onto the land. But the cyclones width and the diameter, if you consider, they are very huge. This may reach till Nepal as well. We have seen when cyclones were affecting in Bay of Bengal, this had impact in Nepal as well. So that means most of the North India will also be covered with this. The cyclone doesn't go there, but the moisture content in the atmosphere or the winds which are there will be traveled till that region. And as you are aware, during winters there will be inversion of temperature. That is, cold layers will be present near the earth's surface. When you have moisture content also being present in these cold layers, then we usually observe that this turn into fog. That is, dense fog in North India is due to the moisture availability from the cyclonic activity. So if at all they ask you in climatology, you may get, but in mains if they ask you this, you need to explain the concept in detail. So guys, I hope this is clear. Then the next important one is actually with respect to biofuel. That is, there is a second generation ethanol biorefinery which will be set up in Punjab. What is the meaning of this second generation? That means there should be several generations. So you have actually 4 generations of biofuel. So the first generation biofuel means they are directly produced from the food crops such as wheat and sugar. But the problem with this is when we are actually going to produce from wheat and sugar, the wheat and sugar which is required for human consumption will go in production of biofuel, which may lead to food insecurity. So this is not reliable in long term. So they brought the second generation one, where you actually use marginal crops unsuitable for food production or non-food crops such as wood, organic waste, food crops waste, and also crops like jatropha which is not consumed as food is used. But the problem with this is that some land has to be dedicated for this, which may also divert the attention of the farmers from food crops to these biofuel crops. So they came up with another one, that is third generation. It is based on improvement on production of biomass by taking advantage of specially engineered energy crops like algae. Here what they do, they try to go for some microorganisms and try to produce some third generation biofuel. And then you have fourth generation biofuel, where we are aiming at producing sustainable energy and also capturing and storing carbon dioxide. Here what we do, at every stage the carbon dioxide is captured. This will ensure that the carbon content in the fuel increases and it would lead to geosequestration. This will make a fuel to be carbon negative. The reason for this is it is not producing less carbon dioxide, but the fuel is made by actually capturing carbon content present. So the carbon content which is there in the system or in the earth or in the atmosphere will be captured. When it is actually captured, then say for example 100 tons is captured, and when we actually use it in biofuel or in any other format, it may emit less. So this leads to carbon negative is what they are actually planning. Now this is not yet completely seen anywhere across the world. Few places you can see the third G and fourth G going on. So just by that you can't come to the conclusion whether it will be carbon negative, cost effective and all. So if at all they ask you what are the different generations with respect to this, or consider the following statements with respect to different generations of biofuel, you should be aware of this. Then the next important one is Indian Navy Day on 4th December, where we talk about Operation Trident during 1971. India, Pakistan or Bangladesh Liberation War when it happened. This is celebrated as Navy Day mainly because during this Operation Trident, the Navy went along with the submarines and others and they actually blasted the Karachi naval port. At that point of time, it is said that for 5 to 6 days the Karachi port was burning, and after that the naval forces of Pakistan were demoralized and they actually didn't want to fight against India, or they didn't want to take their navies out of this port. These were some of the reasons which led to mass scale surrender of Pakistan army during 1971. So this is important as this year it was highlighted a lot. And the other important exercise from security point of view, Konkan exercise, which is actually between India and UK Navy. This we have seen in India yearbook already. Gov app. This is the app released by the Power Ministry to provide real-time information about the rural electrification in all villages of the country. Guys, Beam app is there, Garu app is there. They may give you match the following. So please be prepared. When you see 4 different apps, and as you may not be aware of all the apps, you may think everything is actually with respect to Digital India. But every ministry is releasing one or the other app to ensure that they are in contact with the common people. And this becomes very, very important for us. Then you have something called as Public Financial Management System, which is administered by Department of Expenditure. This is a new body which is being set up. The reason for this is it is believed that there are some 1,000 to 2,000 crores of idle money being present with the government in different departments. The Department of Expenditure tries to identify these. It tries to track all these. So whenever these funds are available to the government, rather than taking loans from the public or from the banks, it's better to use these unutilized funds is what the government is actually planning for. So here we need to know that public financial management system, which is administered by Department of Expenditure, will actually try to do end-to-end solution for processing payments, tracking, monitoring, accounting, reconciliation and reporting. It helps the government in utilization of idle funds. Guys, very important for us to remember this. Then we have something called as market stabilization scheme. This was important mainly after demonetization, as lot of money was actually there with the banks. They actually go for this market stabilization scheme where they increase the ceiling of MSS bonds to rupees 6 lakh crore. It actually helps in sucking excess liquidity from the system. So because of demonetization, lot of money was there with the banks. So they actually, RBI used this as a management tool to ensure that they actually get some money, or they actually deposit, the banks will deposit this money with the RBI. Right? Then you have another scheme with respect to demonetization called as Vittiya Saksharata Abhiyan or Go Digital by MHRD, that is Ministry of Human Resource Development, to create awareness and motivate all people to use digital payments, where in almost all the universities they have plans to make it completely digital. Then there is a program called One Jeevan by Tribal Affairs Ministry in collaboration with UNDP and NSTFDC, which was launched for tribal livelihood issues. Right? Tribal One Jeevan is actually associated with tribal livelihood issues. If you can remember this, it is more than if. Then at last, you have two important topics. One from geography point of view, the Mahadayi River is important because this dispute has again been raked up between Karnataka, Goa and Maharashtra. So with all these river issues, the government is actually thinking of setting up one river authority board which actually looks into all these issues, and there they plan that rather than relying on the information about the amount of water which is actually available in different dams, it is better to have a central agency which will actually look at the water and decide what should be done in a particular scenario. Because whenever we look at any river issue, neither the central government nor the state governments is in a position to solve because of the politics involved in those particular states. So now to ensure that this will be done by a central agency, there will be one committee or one group which will be set up, which will go to different dams and study how much water is actually available and what should be done in this particular moment. Right? So after this, what is important for us is actually about Heart of Asia Summit, which is actually with respect to Afghanistan. It is also called as Istanbul Process, which was launched in 2011, where they wanted to solve the problems of Afghanistan. This year, the focus was mostly about Afghanistan, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Azerbaijan, China, India, Iran, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Tajikistan, Turkey, Turkmenistan and UAE. None of the European Union countries or any other country is present, only Asian countries. Especially if I have to talk from geography point of view, rimland countries are actually present here. So please be careful. They may ask you, Heart of Asia as it happened in India, first they may ask you it is with respect to what one. This year it was with respect to Afghanistan. The second they may ask you which of the following countries are part of it. So they may give you US and other countries, they are not there. Russia, a European country, if at all we consider, then it is only Russia which is part of it. Rest all those countries which has border with Afghanistan is usually present. But apart from that, some of the major Muslim countries are also present. Right? So guys, please ensure that you are reading about the heart of Asia properly. We will be releasing the Jan and Feb current affairs by next week, so that all the current affairs is done. March, April, through the weekly current affairs, we will be covering most of it. If there is anything that is left with respect to current affairs in March and April, apart from Hindu, even those will be covered over a period of time, right? But before June 1st, all these topics will be covered. You will be having 18 days for revision, so that if you can listen to these videos again after June 1st, it is more than enough for you to solve most of the questions with respect to current affairs. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching.